Hello everyone. Today we're working on lesson 25, session 2. We're going to continue adding tens. Let's take a look at our first problem. It says Tessa has 30 erasers in a jar. She gets 20 more. How many erasers does she have now? Let's read that again. Tessa has 30 erasers in a jar. She gets 20 more. How many erasers does she have now? All right, there's a bunch of ways we can solve this. I'm noticing that our important information is 30, 20, and our question, how many erasers does she have now? So that tells us that we're going to be adding those numbers together. We want to know how many she has now. She had 30, she gets 20 more. How many does she have now? I'm going to choose to do a number sentence for this one. So we're going to take our important numbers from the problem, which are 30 and 20, and write a number sentence. 30 plus 20 equals, Go ahead and jot that down in the try it section. And we can do this in our head. We can take 30 and count on by tens until we get 20 more. So 30 is in my head, 40, 50. 20 is the same as 2 tens, so we can add that in our head that way. We could also, for this one, add the tens and the ones to get our total. So if we add the ones, 0 plus 0 equals 0. In the tens place, 3 plus 2 equals 5. Either way we do it, we get a total of 50. So Tessa has 50 erasers all together. Okay, let's look at our discuss it question. How can thinking about 3 plus 2 help? Well, we actually did that. How did thinking about 3 plus 2 help us find our answer? When we thought about 3 plus 2, we got 5. When we thought about 0 plus 0, we got 0. So we were able to add our answer in our head that way. Tens places plus ones places. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 0 plus 0 equals 0. Our sum or answer is 50. Go ahead and turn to the back side of this page. All right, we're going to see the same problem again and talk about some other ways that we can solve it, because as we know in math, there are usually many strategies to find an answer. So again, Tessa has 30 erasers in a jar. She gets 20 more. How many erasers does she have now? Think about what our important numbers are. What are they? 30 and 20. How many erasers does she have now? We are adding again. So when we look at model it, it tells us that we need to find 30 plus 20. We can write the numbers as tens and then add the tens. So let's take a look at what they mean by that. 30 is the same as 3 tens. Think about that again. 30 is the same as 3 tens. So they drew out 3 tens for us. 10, 20, 30. 3 tens is the same as 30. Plus 2 tens. What's 2 tens the same as? 20. 10, 20. 2 tens is the same as 20. What is 3 tens plus 2 tens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tens. 3 tens plus 2 tens equals 5 tens, as we see in our picture here. We got 5 tens by counting our tens, but we also could have done 3 plus 2 in our head to find that 3 tens plus 2 tens equals 5 tens. Now, this should look familiar. This is what we did on try it on the other side, 30 plus 20. So we're kind of going back to our original problem again. 3 tens is the same as 30. 2 tens is the same as 20. What's 30 plus 20? Let's use that strategy again of adding our tens places and our ones places. 3 plus 2 is 5. Let's put a 5 right there. 0 plus 0 is 0. Put a 0 there. What number does 50 make? 50. Tessa has erasers now. What's her total number of erasers, everyone? 50. She has 50 erasers now. We want to make sure that we're keeping these units straight in our minds. It's very easy to get confused. We have to remember that 5 tens is the same as 50. 5 tens is the same as 50. Tessa has 50 erasers now. It doesn't have the word tens, so we're not going to put 5. We put the whole number, which is 50. All right. Go on to your next page. And we're going to do a little flipping here. Keep your first page handy because we're going to take a look at what we did for our other problems. So it's asking us for number 1 under connect it. How is your way like model it? How is it different? Let's flip back to our very first side to see what we did for our way, which would be under try it. So if you remember, we wrote out 30 plus 20 equals 50. That's the strategy we used to first solve this problem. 30 plus 20 equals 50. We used a number sentence. For model it, they first drew the tens. Then they went into the numbers. But hey, look what we see here. We see the same number sentence we used. So the way we did it is very similar to model it, but it's also different because we see the use of tens drawn out for model it. So like before, we don't need to write out an answer for here. We're talking about it right now. How is your way like model it? Our way of writing a number sentence is like model it because they did a whole bunch of things, including the same number sentence we did. So that's how our way is similar to model it. Our other question was, how is it different? Our way is different because we did not draw out the tens, but they did for model it. So we see a couple different strategies here. So that's how our way is like model it and different from model it. Number 2, how is adding tens like adding ones? How is it different? So when we add tens and when we add ones, there's things that are the same and things that are different. Think to yourself for a second, how is adding tens like adding ones? I'm thinking that when we add tens, we're looking at the first number in the tens places. Let me scroll back up to here. So when we're adding tens, we're actually adding the ones as well. So 3 plus 2 gives us 5 in our tens place. 0 plus 0 gives us 0 in our ones place. So when we add tens, we can actually break it down by adding smaller numbers together to get our whole answer. That's how it's similar. How is adding tens different from adding ones? Well, when we're adding tens, we have a lot more numbers that we're dealing with and a lot more squares. If we were just adding ones, we would have those small individual squares. So when we add tens, we could count by tens. When we add ones, we would count by ones. So the way we find our answer could be different because when we add tens, we can count by tens. When we add ones, we can't count by tens, of course. We would have to count by ones. So that's how it can be different. That's just one example of how adding tens and ones is different. You may have something else in your mind. Let's take a look at apply it. Mia has 40 shells. She collects 30 more. How many shells does Mia have now? Again, Mia has 40 shells. She collects 30 more. How many shells does Mia have now? Let's take a look at our picture. Actually, before that, let's talk about our important information. The numbers 40 and 30 are really important in this problem, right? And our question is important because it guides us to finding our answer. How many shells does Mia have now? So we know that we're adding. We're taking how many she has plus how many more she collects to find out how many she has now. So let's take a look. We have 4 tens plus 3 tens equals, why did they do 4 tens? Because this number is 40. Why did they draw 3 tens? Because this number is 30. 40 is the same as 4 tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. 30 is the same as 3 tens. 10, 20, 30. How many total tens do we have here? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tens is our answer. Please put a 7 on this line. 40 plus 30. We're back to our original problem. 40 plus 30. We're using the numbers directly from the problem. Well, let's look at our tens place. 4 plus 3 equals 7. We can put a 7 right here. Then we can add the ones. 0 plus 0 equals 0. We have 7, 0 for our answer. What number does that make? 70. How many total shells, everyone? Shells. 70 shells. Why would it not be 7 shells? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tens up here. Why can't we put 7 shells down here? We see 7 tens up here. Because 7 tens is not the same as 7. 7 tens is the same as 70, which is what we got here. And that's what we put for our final answer. She has 70 shells now. All right, on to the other side, please. It says, find 20 plus 20. We have 2 tens. Why? Because 20 is the same as 2 tens. 10, 20. Plus another 20. 10, 20. Okay, let's see what we're working with here. 2 tens plus 2 tens equals tens. So we need to count how many tens we have. Or we could do 2 plus 2 to find how many tens. Go ahead and solve it whichever way you want. I'm going to count the tens. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 tens. Please put a 4 on this line. Then back to our original problem, 20 plus 20. 10, 20, 30, 40. Our total is 40. Please put that on that line. Now there's no space, there's no picture for us, but there's a nice space here if you want to draw out a picture to find your answer. So we're going to find 20 plus 60. How many tens are in 20? 2. Please put a 2 there. How many tens are in 60? 6. Please put a 6 there. So what is 2 tens plus 6 tens? How many total tens is that? If you want to draw out the tens, you can right here. Please pause the video if you want to do that. And we find that we have a total of 8 tens. 2 tens plus 6 tens equals 8 tens. Back to our original problem, 20 plus 60, what does that equal? 80, which is the same as 8 tens. 2 tens plus 6 tens equals 8 tens. 20 plus 60 equals 80. Okay, our last problem. Find 50 plus 30. All right, again, we're changing these numbers into tens. What's the same as 50? 5 tens. What's the same as 30? 3 tens. What is 5 tens plus 3 tens? Let me do 5 plus 3 in my head. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tens. What's the same as 8 tens? What number is the same as 8 tens? 80. 80 goes on the line right here. 50 plus 30 equals 80. All right, you're going to try the green page on your own, which is page 583 and 584. Have these 2 pages handy if you need to look back for a reminder about how to do something. Thank you.